Please welcome Karibi to Go-Go Jack.
Thank you. Thank you for joining us for this session, Partnering for Success, Tips for Creators and Brands. I am Karibi de Go-Go Jack, Head of Music Partnerships at Roblox. We have an amazing lineup of brands and creators joining this session today, and we are so grateful for their time and sharing their insights with us today. Before we get started, we want to take a minute to talk about why brands. The slide didn't change. There we go. What's going on? Okay. Okay, before we get started, let's take a minute to talk about why brands on Roblox. What is a unique value proposition for brands and IP holders on our platform? And what makes our platform so compelling for brands and who want to engage with our unique community? So it really is distilled into three core components. First is scale. The Roblox community is massive, which creates a really compelling opportunity for brands to create and sustain their communities on our platform through brand experiences that allow them to reach new audiences. These brand experiences have amassed over 2.3 billion visits as of the end of Q2 this year, so a massive amount. That's 7 times the population of the US. Second is deep engagement. On Roblox, brands are collaborating with you, our creator community, to create content and experiences that enable people to engage with their favorite brands and talent in a totally new way. This leads to deep engagement with 375 million total hours engaged with brand experiences. And finally, this is not typical engagement, this is deep immersive engagement, which makes the Roblox platform unlike any other. People are spending more than 11 minutes on average in brand experiences on Roblox. For brands, this is an incredible amount of time that they get to spend with a specific consumer. Between the scale, engagement, and how immersive our platform is, Roblox is quickly becoming a core component of brands' consumer marketing strategies. With that, we have assembled an amazing group of brands and developer studios to share their insights and tips with you in this special panel called Partnering for Success, Tips for Creators and Brands on Roblox. So I would like to, at this point, bring up Jamie Spears-Ware. Shang Shen. Marcus Holmstrom. Jan Ras Friedman. Jan, you're cheating here. And Jamie Sampson. All right, welcome everyone. Thank you for joining us here. First off, I'm going to start with a really easy icebreaker question. You can't pick your own, but what's your favorite experience on Roblox? I'll start with you.
Well, Livetopia, obviously, but
that's a good choice.
yeah, but I really like Doors. I quite like the horror games, like something a bit like narrative, a bit dark. So yeah, I think Doors.
Cool.
Today.
Those were taken. So I actually like a game called Mega Hide and Seek. The reason is that's my daughter's favorite game, so I have to play with her. That's really fun. You should try it.
I personally like Build a Boat for Treasure. I think it's kind of symbolized what the Roblox is to me. A lot of creativity, a lot of fun, and it's been there forever.
I'm a simple guy, so Super Golf is my go-to place where I want to chill and play, and it's a great game and really creative. So Super Golf for me.
I'm gonna give 2 answers. One is a one-off. I thought the Netflix Stranger Things was just so awesome, and I loved looking at that. And then I do Van's World a lot with my son. I really like Van's World.
Awesome.
Yeah.
I'll stay with you, Jamie. Could you just give the crowd like an overview of your experience on Roblox of iHeartland?
Sure. Yeah. So I'm Jamie. I'm at iHeartMedia. We have an experience called iHeartland, which is an always-on entertainment experience. So far, we've done about 12 concerts and maybe 8 podcast events in the experience. We lay that on top of a simulator game, which I really love, and props to Marcus and his team, the gang, built Radio Star Simulator in iHeartland.
And Gemma, how about you give us an overview of all the Tommy's done on the platform?
Yeah, sure. So we have Tommy Play on the platform, which we launched a year ago, almost now. And it's like a remix of New York, which is like the genesis and the home of the brand. As you know, that's our heritage. And so there we have like, you know, some mini games, items, just like a really nice place to connect with the community and yeah, just have some fun. And we've had some really nice moments on there with like our fashion show from last year, New York Fashion Week, and then keeping it updated and fresh. Yeah.
Cool. And then we can just go down the line if you want to.
Sure. Yeah, our game is Livetopia. It's a role-playing game in a contemporary setting. Basically, player has a wide selection of play sets, including their house, their outfit, their vehicles. They can play with their friends.
Yeah, we have a lot of games. I'm from the gang. They have a studio. We are 230 people currently, and we build our own games. So the biggest one is called Strongman Simulator with 1.2 billion visits and counting. And then we built for a variety of brands and IPs. And we work with iHeart, FIFA, Vans World, and many more. So we're very fortunate to work with amazing brands.
I'm from Super Social. We build games and experiences on the Roblox platform, our own IP, and also brands and IP owners. You know, some of the games we've built where we always try and push the boundaries of what's possible with the Roblox technology and create things that really push people to creatively express themselves and connect on the platform. Some of the games we've built are Ghostopia, Ballista, Pirates vs. Ninjas, and on the partner side, we're really proud of the worlds we've built with NARS Cosmetics, with Store Number 8 from Walmart, recently Super Campus, a back-to-school game world, with Toykido, a toy company where we launched Smashlings, and then more and more are going to come where we always try and kind of build with AAA creativity, but in a way that really resonates with the community and really build for where the platform can go in the future, not just where it is today.
Awesome. I'm going to stay with you, John. So we've seen brands kind of evolve beyond where they started on Roblox. What are some of the key tenets of this evolution that you've seen in your experience?
Yeah, I think first of all, I think there's been an incredible evolution of brands and the understanding of brands of the Roblox platform. I think when brands started a few years ago, really in conjunction with us starting on the Roblox platform, it was very much kind of a Wild West and people didn't even know what to expect. No one really talked about KPIs or business objective. It was really more about how can we be one of the first as a brand to come into the platform. And I think gradually what we've seen over the past 2 years, both with the project that we're working and also what other studios are doing, we've definitely been seeing a greater level of sophistication from brands who are coming into the Roblox platform with deeper understanding of the community and understanding that you ultimately need to build something that is engaging, that is fun, that doesn't feel like an advertising, and something that the community will truly feel connected to. And I think there's great examples of how folks have done that with experiences that take the essence of the brand and translate that into a game world and a game experience. I think Vans World is a great example. I'm proud of what we've done with companies like NARS Cosmetics, and I think ultimately the sophistication and understanding that Roblox is a place where you can't just come and have a quick win. You really need to be there and stay and build a long-term relationship with a community that is ever growing and constantly give them reasons to come back to the experience again and again and again.
Yeah, have you felt that kind of constant presence on Roblox has been part of what you've experienced in your evolution, John?
Yeah, definitely. I think I totally agree with you. Like this sort of logo slap or opportunistic moment doesn't work. And for us, it's like, we want to enter into these spaces authentically as we are, like, IRL, whether we're URL, it's all the same to us. And we want to have that same like interaction with our consumer, with our community, no matter where we are or what we're doing. And for us, the updating part is really important. Like we have to keep it evolving, keep it fresh, interesting, so that people return. Otherwise, it's just a campaign, it's just an ad, and we do that seasonally with our clothing, you know, for our collections. But in these spaces, it has to be far more engaging, has to be more in-depth storytelling, but then also listening, reacting, and evolving towards your community as you build it as well.
Awesome. Yeah. Sheng, I have a question for you about how you work with brands. How do you think about working with brands? How did you start going through that process?
Yeah. So our case is a little bit different from theirs. So we are basically a large Roblox experience, and we do brand integrations rather than like standalone brand experiences. So it's slightly different. So one thing is we utilize the large user base, but the other thing is like we need to strike a balance between the brand needs and the players, because we have existing player base. So one thing we've been always trying to do is to make those brand integrations as organic as possible. So like Livetopia is a role-playing game. So it basically, when we integrate a brand experience, we want to allow the player to role-play in that experience. That's like the best way actually we can provide to our player as well as provide brand value. That normally works really well and actually increase the player engagement.
Cool. Did you feel that players were affected or had a negative reaction to brand integrations or brand collaborations? How was the player response to?
Yeah, that's a very good question. So for the very first brand integration, we were very concerned about that. Like we were not sure, and we tried to do a lot of research. And then we give it a try, and it turned out to be pretty successful. And the reason was pretty much what just to summarize. You need to do that in a very organic way. Player never had any resistance to a brand, especially the brand is the known brand that basically their day-to-day kind of experience. If you do that in a fun way or an organic way, as I mentioned, they actually embrace that. They think, oh wow, Livetopia is working with like Barbie, working with Lego. They love it. And I remember like we launched a Lego experience 3 months ago. We allow the player to actually drive a Lego car in the experience. That was like one of the very successful brand experiences we ever launched. So cool. That's really good.
So you're seeing benefits from promotion, content updates, and things like that from?
Yeah, promotion from like definitely that brings in a lot of the existing brand audience. For example, players who play Lego and they actually see the opportunity to play Lego in a virtual world. So these are actually additional users we can get. And existing players who's already a Livetopia audience, they see the new opportunity to play something new outside of their regular game update. So this actually works in both ways. So that's very powerful in my opinion.
Yeah. Jamie and then Gemma, you're gonna have to answer this question too. What are some attributes that you're looking for in developers that you're bringing on board?
That's a good question. So we, as iHeartMedia, we're a media company, right? So when we go into a space like Roblox, we have the content we bring, but we also have the brand partners that we bring with it. So you know probably very well that we have State Farm inside iHeartland. State Farm actually has naming rights to the venue in iHeartland, State Farm Park. And so there is this balance we need to strike with being really brand forward, but also being a good game. And when we were talking with developers, it was really about how can we find someone that we know understands how to present a brand that's not going to be offensive to the community. And I think we'll probably talk about that with regard to honoring the community of Roblox, but then also knows how to build a great game. And I think when we were out looking, we saw Strongman Simulator, we saw spaces like Van's World, and we found this company in the gang that really understands striking that balance. And for everything we do, we've had Nix in the space, we've had Intel in the space, and it was really about continuing the gameplay, continuing this great simulator game we have, but also presenting these brand partners of ours that are paying us to show up, tastefully to the Roblox audience.
Awesome. And for you, Gemma?
What was the question?
What are some attributes that you're looking for from creators and developers that you're working with?
So I think for us, like engaging from the very start with UGC creators, with actually going directly to the community was super important for us. And there, I think that's where we find like the genius of what we're trying to do. And especially since we are relatively novice in this space. And when we started, we were completely novice. And we have to listen to those who know what they're doing, who have been there, who are established, and also as part of our brand, all the way through the history of our brand, we've been engaging with up-and-coming talent, like always looking for talent with a new point of view, and it's really interesting and so cool to see your own IP, your own aesthetic reflected back at you when you challenge somebody to, remix it, do whatever you want with it, and create something new and interesting for the moment. And I really feel that for us, wherever we are or whoever we're engaging with, we always try and couple that with like our values as a brand. And I keep saying values because it's so inherently important for us that we have the same point of view. And I think for a developer approaching a brand, you have to really consider what is your brand affinity? Do you have that approach similarly to them, and vice versa? And that's, I think, where you sort of pull together your strategy and where you pull together that real partnership as well. And things can evolve and they can change and you can drift or you have to update and change who you're working with. But I think that it's so important to really like deep dive into the community and really find that talent and give opportunity to people who are doing amazing things. Maybe it gives a platform for a moment, which also gives us a platform as well.
Yeah, for sure. Do you describe some of the things changing and developing as you work along? What are some of the challenges that come from that and from some of the challenges for developers with working with brands?
Time is always the challenge, the biggest challenge, especially for fashion brands and especially like, such a big brand as Tommy, because we have such a finite calendar. So if anything is shifting and changing, so development time goes longer, or Tommy, don't make a decision on time, but we have a campaign to launch and everything is really like piling up against each other. I feel like time really is the challenge for us, and to have really good in-depth planning of when you want to launch, where you want to launch, but also on what platforms you want to launch and promote as well at the right moment. All of this strategy is so important for us to be able to kind of head off some of those issues that we might come up against. But we are learning and we're testing in this space. We've been a year and a half on the platform, and I feel like we learn every time we launch something new, and we are updating quite regularly. We're updating with items or aspects of the experience. We're maybe working with being a global brand. We're maybe partnering with a region to bring a pop-up into the space. But we have to really be flexible and just roll with how developers work, UGC creators work, and then how we work, and then somehow we manage to make it happen.
Yeah, it's a marriage.
Yeah.
Jamie, do you have a perspective on some of the challenges?
Yeah, I think it's the way you iterate is, and to sort of speak to the updating, is so important. We're constantly learning about what the users and the players are doing in our game, and taking what's right to learn from, and then not letting outside influences sort of say, no, you should be doing this, or no, you shouldn't be doing this. Like, there's so much analytics available to you that you can feature creep till the cows come home, right? Like, it's really about figuring out, like, let's take these really simple things and just keep iterating over time to optimize the game, rather than having these huge ideas all the time and like, oh my god, we're going to build this one thing and it's going to be great, and then you launch it and it's like, oh, you know what, we really should have like looked at the numbers and realized that wasn't going to be great. Yeah. It's really about using the insights you get to then turn it around and and make it something valuable. And I find it it's often challenging to understand what is and isn't going to be the right lever to pull.
Yeah, so on the point of analytics, what are some ways that you measure success? What are some of the key performance indicators for iHeart?
Yeah. We have a number of constituents, like I said. For our brand partners, someone like State Farm, we're measuring, how often someone interacts with that brand. I say this all the time that my 10-year-old has literally, we've had Fall Out Boy, we've had Charlie Puth, we've had, huge artists in iHeartland. And my 10-year-old asked me if Jake from State Farm was the most famous person that's ever been in iHeartland, and which blew my mind, right? And so what we measure, like how often are people interacting with Jake? We have the Jake NPC in there. And there was a week in April, we kind of relaunched the game where players interacted with him for like 1 million minutes. It was just absolutely bonkers. And it turns out people like Jake. So those interactions we're measuring all the time. When it comes to the events we have, then we're looking at something like time spent in-game, right? Because we have to turn around to our artist partners and say, hey, someone spent 20 minutes watching your show. You're only getting like 4 minutes on YouTube. Like this is really something special. So there's a balance for a number of things we need to look at, and it really depends on the partner.
That makes sense. For Tommy, how do you measure success? What are some of the...
Yeah, it's a really good question because our benchmarking is really about engagement, time spent. We also try and look at our benchmarking we have maybe in our store or an e-com as well, looking at the time there. And shout out to the Geek team. We work with them really deeply on the analytics, on the data to really see where people are engaging with us and how and when. And then we're taking that and evolving that into what can push this forward for us on the platform. But we don't have anything to benchmark against or something similar. So then we look maybe at social media. How long are people actually spending, in our Instagram or on YouTube or, wherever. But especially somewhere, like a true brand experience, like on our e-com, we try to see where people are actually engaging with our brand. So, on social media with a doom scroll, it's not exactly engagement, but maybe on e-com when you're adding to cart, when you're looking at product, etc., we try and look at it in the same way. But yeah, so we're learning a lot from the last year, I would say, especially since the experience has been around now for a year. And I have to say the time spent, we have over, I think it's 3 million hours spent in 1 year, which equates to so much time. Yeah. And then we sort of start to look at that. And like I say, it's not just about engagement, also people checking out our items, purchasing our items, or grinding to actually achieve the items, because we want to make it that you don't have to come in and spend with us. You can also, play with us and still get something as well.
Cool. Marcus, I haven't heard from you in a while.
I am sitting here.
What are some platform features that you're excited about that are coming down the pipe for you?
Quite many, actually. Can you hear me in the back as well? Yes. Awesome, thank you. No, I think listening to the keynotes and hearing what they are working on, I think 3 actually main things that are quite exciting for me. One is the AI, mainly for the reason it's going to simplify things for me. We're going to have quicker turnaround times and we're going to be able to do things on the fly. So that's going to be really fun. The avatar, the movements and everything around the avatars, I think you're going to be able to do so many cool things with it. You can do extremely fun things. Take, for example, an iHeart, have a concert, dancing that actually looks like dancing. And then for me, I'm quite boring. So I like ads, and I actually like the Roblox ad system that's coming on board more and more, because that's also going to give, first of all, it's going to give a lot of money to actual developers, but it's going to also give possibilities for brands and IPs to drive traffic. But I think that's going to evolve better. Right now, I don't think it's there yet, but I think it's going to become really, really nice, and I heard some things that are coming up, and I'm very excited for that.
Awesome. Jan, do you have a perspective on some of the tech and features that you're excited about?
Yeah, I think that at the end of the day, everyone have listened to the keynote, and I think there's a lot coming down the pipeline in terms of features across the board. From our standpoint, what we're thinking about is how do we use these technologies in a way that's going to amplify further the way people want to express themselves on the platform from the user standpoint? And that includes, new body shapes and new type of hair. I mean, when we've done our Scholar Quest last year, it blew my mind that people were incredibly obsessed about this pink hair. That was never a big part of like the concept, and kind of you're learning what people care about on the platform, and it's about really expressing their personality, their identity, how they come across, which is so endemic to virtual worlds in general. And so we're really excited about everything that has been announced around pushing avatar fidelity and avatar expression forward. So we really want to take advantage of that. And then I think on how we support brands who come into the platform, I think brands are really obsessed for all the right reasons with their identity, with their color schemes, and finding the right balance between how do we use the platform in the most effective way, in a way that resonates with the community, and looking at all the amazing new capabilities that are coming through the engine as well. These leaves and all of those small things. When we work with brands, there's all of these unique small things that brands so obsessed about that may not matter to users, but when brands come to the platform, they really want to have something that will, make them proud of what has been built. And so looking at what's coming down the pipeline on the engine is incredibly compelling, and we're really excited to take advantage of all of that.
Cool. Just on the subject of working with brands, how do you think about staffing and resourcing your teams for working with brands? I'll start with you, Jan.
Yeah, I think that we've learned a lot over the last couple of years, the distinction between when we build our own IP and when we build with partners, if it's brands or IP owners. And I think the key distinction in between both of them is that when we start a new project with brands, partners, we really understand that, hey, we got to let it be bumpy a bit along the journey. And we really think that the way to educate the brands at the beginning is to make sure that they understand what we need from our side to be successful, and making sure that Roblox, one of the magical things about the platform is you can build almost like a AAA-like game world with a very small team, an artist, an engineer, a game designer, a producer, and maybe a few more. And with a group of 4, 5, 6, 7 people, you can really build a world-class, premium quality game world that is multiplayer on the Roblox platform and launch it like within 4, 5, 6 months. And so, but alongside that, there is that real rapid iteration. And so when we kind of separate between building phase and then in the live phase, it can be even a smaller team, but one that can really support monetization and marketing and user acquisition. And on the Roblox platform, user acquisition, discoverability, gameplay, design are all like well integrated together. So we really build a team that can be lean according to what we learn once the experience is live, while in the build phase, it's quite relatively stable. And then on the brand side, we really spend a lot of time making sure that brands understand that for them to be successful, it's not like, hey, I have this project manager on the marketing operations and they're gonna give you guys like 5 hours a week. And we're like, no, that's just not gonna fly. And I think what we've learned, and the brands we work with learned, is that you really need to staff the other side as well. And so today, when we kick off a new project, we spend time telling our brand partners, look, here is probably what you're gonna need to do, not just from a team perspective and staffing, and have a real owner for the project with the right support from management and championing that, but also here is what the operation framework is gonna look like across the board. We're gonna do weekly check-ins, and once we're live, we're gonna have data, and we're gonna show you this, and we're gonna show you that. And in order to be effective on Roblox, you have to move quick and rapidly and sort of build with simplicity, but also ship rapidly, and making sure that brands understand that this is very similar to TikTok in a way, but it's definitely not like games on mobile or AAA, where the cycles are much slower. So that's kind of how we think about staffing and process as well.
Cool. Marcus, is there anything you have to add to that?
Of course. I think from our perspective, and for you as well that want to work with brands, I think what's important to look into is kind of what the brand actually wants, why do they want to be there. Try to understand that, that's key. Staffing wise, I wouldn't say we actually staff very different when we do internal and external. We try to do the same thing, so we're different there. We did it different in the beginning, but it didn't really work out for us, for our own games. So staffing wise, what we do is that we added on so many more layers. In the beginning, we had a game designer, developer, artist, and me on PM. And that didn't really scale. So then we added client directors, we have producers, we have Yeah, professional PMs. And I think, like you said, Jan, as well, that you have to look into as well from the brand side that they need to understand what the platform is all about. And I think that's super, super important because it's not an ad. We say no to, and we have the fortunate to be able to say no to so many brands coming to us because if they're coming for the wrong reason, if they are trying to do something that we really don't truly believe can fit the platform, fit the community, we don't want to do it. And we want to build something that actually creates, push the boundaries, but also is aligned with what the community is there for. So I think that's kind of important for me in a way.
Yeah. You mentioned 3D artists, producers, marketing, game designers. Jan, is that more or less the same kind of staffing that you have? Are there some other roles that spring to mind for you?
Yeah, I think definitely that's sort of the core atomic unit of any creation in 3D. We definitely have also people that work across multiple projects around what we call player success, but really it's about QA and making sure that it's not only just working, but it's also about making sure that the player are really going to resonate with the experience. And so we do constant testing and play testing and community testing along the way. And then I think there is the other piece of when we start thinking about live ops, we need to make sure that we have the right go-to-market strategy. It's kind of funny, I know for brands, it's almost like you're going to market the marketing in a way, but that's the reality. You're coming to a platform that there's just so much going on. And so we work closely on internally as well and making sure that there is a really cohesive go-to-market strategy. How are we going to activate the community? How can we work with influencers on YouTube and so on and so forth? And then lastly, of course, making sure that we're well equipped to work based on data at the live op stage and kind of equipping our producers with the right capabilities and tools and knowledge to act on those insights as we are moving rapidly to iterate on the experience.
Cool.
Can I jump on that?
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
The marketing part that's what we as a brand and our brand partners, like, we don't know how to market a Roblox game, right? And it's like, we have artists, we have a whole studio team that can give you designs, Marcus, but when you come to us with a team of people that really gets that is so important for our brand. And we're like so grateful that you have a staff that does that, and I'm sure you do too. And it's like, from the brand side of it, that really can't be overlooked, that this is a platform that while we play it, and my son plays it, and I've gotten deep into it over the past 18 months, what we really don't know is reaching the Roblox audience.
Awesome. So say I'm a third independent developer or 3D artist, and I'm interested in working with you, Marcus. What's the best way of going about partnering with you?
If you're in the room, come to me afterwards. If you're not in the room, find us on LinkedIn, our website. We actually launched a new website a couple of days ago, so go and check it out. No, but we work with a lot of people. We have our staff is full-time. We have 230 people full-time at 4 places around the globe now. We're going to add one more this year. And we also work with a lot of people from the community. We don't count those within those numbers. And we love to work with them because you gave us so much when we came to the platform, and we kind of want to give back. So connect with us. We want to hear from you and work together, hopefully.
What about you, Sean? Is there an easy way to reach out to you and connect with you if you're an independent developer?
Yeah. LinkedIn, our company website, Livetopia, right? It's like the best way. And our Discord server. There are multiple ways for reaching out to us.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much. Anyone in this room, hit these people up on LinkedIn. Thanks for coming out, and thank you so much for your time.
Thank you.